Hello, and welcome to a third demo video of my iPad Infinity Army Builder, which I have dubbed MayaNet. Today I'm going to talk very quickly about a few features that I've implemented. I've implemented Wiki Integration into the units themselves. I've implemented list validation. I have implemented import and export of rosters. So I'll go through those three topics in that order. So one of the big features that I really enjoy about the Army Builder is, or the it's also a play assistant, is the Wiki integration. So one of the nice things is now you can now click on any of the special rules and you can actually bring up the wiki, which is quite nice and very handy. So for example, I can look at a rifle and I can see all the special rules for a rifle if I needed to, and then I can go back. Another very nice feature is list validation. I've implemented list validation and it allows you to get some feedback about the validity of your list. For example, when I started this list off, I don't have a lieutenant, but once I add one, I will then be validated in that regard. Things like if I add a remote, but I do not have an engineer, I will be able to that until I actually add. Oh, right. It is require of a hacker, so I will add a hacker, and that will go away. For G servant, I believe the NASMAT, they are G servants. So if I get rid of the engineer, you'll see that I actually need a G servant controller. So I could potentially add a doctor if I wanted to, and that error would go away. List validation covers things like group AVA, like Iranian militia, Cameroonians, uh, military orders, knights. There's a few of them that I've specially written in. As I get more feedback, I will include more. There's things like personalities, checks, no lieutenant, as you saw, remote controllers. There's a few other ones, and there's about 10 to 12, and they will continue as I get more feedback about list validation. So that is that. I'm going to go a little quickly through this video as it is getting kind of late here. I've been developing late into the evening trying to get this other feature which I want to speak of is the import export. So one of the biggest things about list building, especially as an app with at the moment no plans to have really like a website similar to Aolif Toolbox, the developer decided to go with a web interface as well as device applications, which is a really nice ecosystem, I believe. It's really handy to have like a website that you can look at if you simply don't have the device available. I have went a little bit simpler route. No, at the moment, I have no plans of making a website with this same form of functionality. Very much stay within the application. So I'll be able to import if I so choose. And so I have a example set up in Safari. This is our my local gaming forum, and I have posted a list specifically asking for comments and about the VB code output. I can definitely, anybody who has feedback with regards to how this is formatted, or if you feel like more information is necessary, you can definitely give me feedback. I definitely appreciate that. So this is the format. Very simply, you've got the title, the faction, the title that you've so chosen, the cost, and you can see that I'm a little light on this one. You can see the group. I have the number of models, the number of orders, the listing. Very similar to Infinity Army, and it's a little bit more comprehensive than the Aleph Toolbox VB code. I took it upon myself to really kind of give you a little bit more of the rules. I thought it would also be really cool down the line. It may get a little messy. Is actually implementing the Infinity Wiki links. So actually, you could actually have Forward Observer as a link. I think it would get a little bit expansive especially having all those links in there, it could make it quite a significant amount of copy and paste. But I thought it was kind of an interesting possibility. So you've got the second group down here, and you've got this little link here called Open in MayaNet. So this will allow you to you simply click on there. You're now presented with the option to import the roster. So originally I had it so you would just immediately import, but that can get kind of messy, especially if you're browsing things. So you get the option, hey, do I want to import this roster or not, rather than just kind of showing up in your roster inventory. It presents a very similar view. This is the preview window, allowing you to kind of take a look at it. You can scroll down as you like. You can take a look at it and see if this is something that I want to keep around. If I want to, I can hit import. You can see you're presented with the little thing there letting you know that you've now imported the list, and it actually browses to that list now. So you can actually play with it as you like. So I like this list, but I really want to play with it. Maybe I want to rename it. So list from the internets, and hit save, and bam, there we go. So that is the import. To export is very simply, you've got the little action button down here. You're presented with a very similar window. You can see the trend here. This is the preview window. It's giving you kind of a sense of what it's going to look like when you export it. This could go further along in functionality as providing like a hidden list format where you can preview kind of what you want to hide or not. For example, you could choose to hide like your lieutenant or AD combat jump, stuff like that, or you can even hide the cost. There's definitely room for those kind of options to be available. You have two options up here on the left and the right. You can copy it to your clipboard, and this will actually copy BB code to the clipboard, which will be used for like forums, or you can actually email the this exact view. So it will actually be HTML and be stylized, and you can actually email that to a friend, and they can take a look at it. They can also then they'll get the link in the email that allows them to then open it up in their MayaNet and play with it as they like. They could then export it again, email it back and forth. If you're kind of working back and forth with each other, trying to build a list, I think this is the best way to do it, through email, to kind of go back and forth. I could see other options like cloud support, and those things get a little complicated with regards to some people. Some people feel that they're unnecessary, and so I do want to keep things simple at the moment. And to that, I think it's could be a possibility. These are the data that's stored is not very complicated. It's very portable, so there's definitely possibility of that. But for the moment, it's really just import export, not so much of a cloud storage. So once I'm done with exporting, I can just hit the done button and it goes away. So some demos. Again, I can always encourage you to become a tester. I've got a good group of testers. I feel like they've done a great job. I can always use more, or if you just want an early copy of the application, please let me know. I would really appreciate if you were you would assist in the testing process if you do want to get a copy of the application. So I will leave it there, and I really look forward to any comments or questions you have. And I've been really proud of what I've been able to do. And there's a few more things on the horizon. Some interesting things like just shooting it out there. The option to actually build your opponent's list while you're playing against them. So you know your list really well at a high level. You can potentially build their list really fast. So the idea is maybe that this right pane flips over kind of on a vertical axis and spins around, and then that presents you with your opponent's option to build your opponent's list. You can set what your opponent is, and if you want to flip back and forth between yours and theirs, you can do that. Kind of gives you a little bit of a counterintelligence atmosphere. You're kind of trying to figure out what's left in your, how many points is left in your opponent's army, or do you want to look for things that have like 80 combat jump or something like that. On that note, one of the nice things might be available is the option of actually browsing units by either special rule or their weaponry that they have available. So that's already stored in the back end as like a relational database. And so it would take a little bit of work, but you would be able to maybe go down to the bottom here and click weapons, and then you would be able to click a weapon, and you'd be able to see all the units that are that have that weapon. So if you're playing an opponent, you could go and you haven't really played that army, or you just want to double check, you can go in and say, oh, what in his army has 80 combat jump. Oh, okay, there's two of them, and oh, okay, one of them has mines. Oh, okay, I gotta keep an eye out for possibly having that. So giving you within like 2 or 3 clicks, you can just figure out what your opponents or what you have. So maybe you want to say, oh, okay, I need some more specialists. So I'm going to go and find all the doctors that are available to me. Go down to the special rules, click the doctor special rule, presented with a list of units over on the left here. I think it would be a really good option to have to give you a better sense of what your faction, maybe you're introducing yourself to a new sectorial, or you want to investigate the new sectorial, figure out what kind of technology it has available. You'll see very quickly, oh, hey, there's no high level technology in this sectorial, they're very simple. Or, oh, their weaponry is very simple, and a lot of combi rifles, but only a few options for HMG or stuff like that. So I think that's definitely on the horizon, as well as having secret notes, or a secret on the right side, the option of actually hiding all the secret lieutenants and 80 combat jump from the right side. Say you want to show it to your opponent, or you're walking away, you can set it in hidden mode, and it won't show anything that's not already on the table, or you haven't selected to be on the table yet. There's even the option or the thought of making a pin code, so you could set a pin code very quickly, quick 4-digit pin code, and then on the way back, you could then you could unlock it. So it's a possibility. There's always things of it, weapons, if you forget your pin code or your opponent guesses it. It's very simple. Like, hey, it's a respect thing as well. No one's going to go on your iPad, but it is kind of a cool little, like, hey, I've got a little security and I'm trying to keep my list secret. I think that's kind of a nice feature. So those are the kind of things on the horizon. Definitely, they're kind of near the end of the development cycle, kind of adding in new, cool, off the wall features that I think really add to the value of the application as a whole. But I believe that the majority of the functionality is there. I've been very confident that that the core functionality is already in place. Timeline, I'm hoping, depending on my personal life, a few things going on that's kind of making it difficult to judge, but I'm hoping within the next month or two. So maybe even like a January 1st, or, well, the App Store may be unavailable January 1st, but the first week of January, for like a significant release of features and comprehensive list building and playing. One of the questions, I know this is late in the video, so some people may stop, but one of the questions is about play mode. And so you can go over here and you can hit play mode, and you can actually start removing people. If you didn't see it in the previous demo, I can show it off very quickly here. Oh, hey, look, I have 101 points left to retreat. So say these two guys die, and then this guy dies. Okay, I have 20 points to retreat. So if these two guys die, or this Hofska dies, then I'll be in retreat. I also have 8 orders left, so 4 here and 4 there. This one's getting kind of chumped up. So those are the kind of things available for play mode. Again, I could go into things like pre-calculated booty. I think is a kind of a nifty idea, where once you hit play, it automatically tells you what your booty rolls are, and they're pretty easy to do. That's kind of nice, and it would be locked in with your current play mode. So you would get a new one for every time you hit play. I guess you could really cheat until you got a good roll, but that would be very unsportsmanlike, and no one in our community would do that. So I'll leave it there. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. But thank you for watching my video.